Jenkins. Time for a bit of Jim Does SuperCoach. NBA SuperCoach Week 4 is done. How did we all go? I hope you went okay. I was fine-ish. 1,054 was my score this week. Not quite the dazzling heights of weeks previous, but that's still ranked top 6%. I'll take that for this week. My actual season rank is still in the top 500, so at 497 at the minute, which is okay. But mostly, I feel like we're pretty let down by Giannis as the captain this week. He had 4 games. He only played 3. Jokic wildly outscored him in 3 games as well. So did Wemby, right? So, bit of a tough one. SGA outscored him, I think, as well, too. So, I think what we've sort of learned from week 4, where if you look around the rest of SuperCoach as well, the actual sort of average score this week was 894. So the top 5% is around that 1,100 mark. So I'm just below that. In the top 10%, obviously, 1,079. So right there in that mark. But I think what we're learning is, boy howdy, do we need to be avoiding rest days, injuries, load management, right? And this is like where Jokic has just absolutely rolled gold because he just plays. Right? It's so crazy that that's like one of the most vastly important things week to week for NBA SuperCoach, but here we are. So if we look at week 4 and how it all went, I mean, some of the scores were pretty crazy. You look at the top scorer this week, I think we got to, someone scored a 1,214, which is just pretty crazy, but they had like, even with AJ Mitchell sort of on their court, they still had someone like James Harden, like who had a massive, massive week. We'll get to that in a second. And Larry Markkinen and Trey Murphy. So a couple of those mid-prices that went really, really well. Denny Avdija. So, look, I think we're all sort of gunning towards that sort of awesome upper echelon. I think looking at my team, like Jaylen Brown, I'm sort of still waiting for that real big pop to just sort of come. And it's just not sort of happening. So, I don't know. We might have to move on from him this week. But either way, we'll get to that in a second. Before we get into the schedule check and what we're doing this week, injuries, I mean, Jalen Brunson's out. We know that. OG Anunoby's out now as well. We obviously have Wemby, and that's going to be the biggest question, I reckon, for week 5 SuperCoach is Wemby had left calf tightness. Was this simply the Spurs going, we don't want to play you again this soon if there's like even a hint of something going on? The big question then becomes, will they even risk him for, I believe, which would be our Wednesday, their Tuesday? I think they play Memphis. Memphis are pretty bad at the moment, so the Spurs just might not play Wemby. And then suddenly you have 3 games of Wemby turn into 2 games of Wemby, possibly. So what do we do? My thoughts? Possibly trade him. But otherwise, LaMelo came back as well, which is interesting. Keep an eye on that this week. We have both Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic back as well, looking pretty good too. But that's who we're avoiding this week because the Lakers only have 2 games. Same with Houston. So the games that we are looking at, there's 14 teams with 4 games this week, which is very cool. Atlanta, Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland, Dallas, sure. Come on, Coop, keep it up. Denver, Jokic is your captain, lock it in. Clippers, which is where Harden really, really could shine here. Miami, interesting. New Orleans, Derek Queen, big thumbs up. OKC, that's SGA captaincy question mark. Orlando, Franz Wagner, hello. Philly, do we get Tyrese Maxey back? VJ Edgecombe, have you still got him? Portland, Denny Avdija, big thumbs up there too. And Toronto. I'll tell you what, I'm looking at a dude on Toronto. I'll talk about that in a second. But otherwise, I mean, your best scorers across the leagues, very quickly this week, I mean, you've got Jokic with 165, just incredible gear. His 55-point game the other day was just silly. Jalen Johnson had 162. He had the greatest game of his life 2 games ago for the Hawks. He's been fantastic with Trae Young out. Basically, he's become the go-to guy. And like so much of SuperCoach, NBA SuperCoach at least, so much of this just simply comes down to opportunity and role. Really? So if you look at someone like Ryan Rollins with no guards seemingly on that Milwaukee team, Ryan Rollins has just grabbed the ball and run with it. Jalen Johnson has done similar for the Hawks because with no Trae Young, he's just become the dude, right? Danny Avdija has kind of taken that Portland team by the scruff of the neck and gone, right, boys, come with me. I love the old Denny Utemuster. Next up, we had James Harden at 159. He had a massive double overtime game as well the other day. Certainly helped boost that. And same with Larry Markkinen, who came in fourth with 138. He had a huge game today to really boost that last score. Luka had 133. Wemby, 131. SJ, 117. Jimmy Butler and Onyeka Okongwu, 115. Not bad, but Okongwu's been really good. And at 10th, we've got Franz Wagner again. So this is Onyeka Okongwu and Franz Wagner. And again, this is it. Onyeka Okongwu with the Extreme Zinger Meal.
The Extreme Zinger Meal.
Now, he's taken his role as a starting center on a pretty good team and just really run with it. And so is Franz Wagner with Paolo Banchero out as well. Franz has gone bang, which is very, very good. Giannis was 11th ahead of Zoobs, Denny Avdija, Shaden Sharp. Sabonis is back with a bang, 104 this week. Scotty Barnes, love that, 104 as well. Şengün and Julius Randle, 102, same as Miles Bridges and Cooper Flagg. That's your top 20. So the best bolters, I mean, Lowry having the 47-point game today against the Bulls very much helped him get to his 138. But Franz is just going big because there's no Paolo, so a lot more of the offense is running through him. Jalen Johnson's the exact same way. Sabonis is one that I've got to really keep an eye on. He's an interesting downgrade target, but the thing is Sacramento don't have the awesome schedule this week, so a bit of a tough one. But otherwise, Miles Bridges, bit of a bolter, 102. But with LaMelo back, you've got Con Knipple doing really good things. Miles Bridges, I don't know if I trust that sort of high. How about Musa Diabate? He's been fantastic. He had 97 this week. So did Khalil Ware and Basketball Paul Reed. They both had 93, and Gafford had 90. Again, what have we learned so far through 4 weeks of NBA SuperCoach? Rebounds are king. Rebounds, if you just get rebounds, basically it means you're a big dude. You're not missing too many shots versus like a shot-happy guard. It means you're wildly efficient at scoring an NBA SuperCoach. That's why the likes of Jokic, Giannis, and Wemby are so high up and so well owned, and why they should continue to be so. But I mean, it also gives us a couple of opportunities if we want to downgrade in case of a Wemby trade this week. So, who repaid the faith for me this week? Ryan Rollins had 84. That was really good. Reed Shepherd back on my bench. He did really, really well. Con Knipple on court played very well for me, and Derek Queen had 80 as well. So a couple of really good, super solid cash cows, really, really bashing you over the head with a couple of good scores for me, which is kind of nice of them. Kalkbrenner had 63 as well, doing pretty well. But the biggest bust for me, I mean, Colin Murray Boyles, he's broken my heart. He had 26. Josh Minott had 18. Jalen Williams had 31 for folks out there. Coward's 41 was pretty tough. Paolo Banchero, still owned by 21.6% of coaches, 38 before he got hurt. That was very, very tough. In terms of other sort of busts, there's not a giant amount this week in terms of like the most owned players who didn't really, really perform. VJ Edgecombe was the other one I wanted to mention. He scored 26. He's still owned by 52.6% of super coaches. So that was a tough one, but they only had the 2 games last week, did Philly, which is why I was jumping off both VJ and Maxey. But they have 4 games this week. So if you've kept the faith, 52% still have VJ. So you're laughing if you got him this week. So happy days there. But after all of this, what are our cash cows? How are we going to keep churning over this money? Well, Daniss Jenkins. That's right, Detroit. In terms of teams that we're looking sort of to avoid, the big names on Detroit are the obvious ones because we just don't know when they're going to play again. So luckily I jumped off All-Star Thompson before, just as he got hurt. We also have no Cade Cunningham for the last couple of games, which really hurts his owners. Even Jalen Duren, who was putting up really big numbers. It's just Daniss Jenkins has just stepped into this incredible role out of nowhere and delivered. He has now got a break even of minus 36, which is absolutely crazy, considering that he's priced at 4.3 mil. He could easily just, jump up 2-3 million across the next week and a half if he keeps putting up half decent numbers. In terms of the schedule, Detroit over the next couple of weeks, they have 3 games this week, 4 games the next 2 weeks each. So that's pretty good. So I'm probably going to jump on Jenkins actually as well. There's a couple of trades that I'm going to talk about later that, we'll get right into. But Reed Shepherd, break even to minus 37 as well. He's priced at 6.3 mil, so he's going to still go up fairly solidly the next couple of weeks. And again, role. Reed Shepherd's role has changed dramatically from the first week or two of the NBA season as well. Ime Udoka clearly trusts him that little bit more. He's actually playing at the death of these games sometimes as well. So yeah, I actually really like what Reed Shepherd is showing. Paul Reed as well is another one on Detroit. With Jalen Duren out for the minute, he's been absolutely delivering. He's priced at 5.9 mil, break even to minus 34. The tricky part is with this NBA SuperCoach setup is that, yeah, with so many backup centers and so many sort of other lesser known centers providing very, very solid scoring, we only have one center spot on our bench. And at the moment, I've just got Kalkbrenner there. He's fine. He'll be okay. I've got other sort of things I want to fix first, but there's still lots of money to be out there, money to be made out there if you're actually sort of willing to chop and change a little bit more. But otherwise, I mean, the other players who are out there that are really big break-evens and sort of, big cash cows for next week. Jordan Walsh, interesting role on the Celtics. He's got a break-even of minus 7. Jordan Goodwin scored 75 as basically the backup guard du jour on the Suns this week. So he's got a big one. Landry Shamet had a huge week for the Knicks as well. With Brunson out, OG out. He's suddenly, again, role change. Boom, off he goes. He's at 4.4 mil, break even to minus 15. He'll go up probably a mil or so over the next week or two. Ace Bailey, break even is now back down to minus 6. He's had a couple of solid games as well, which is kind of nice. Not today, but I think he had 10 minutes, 6 fouls. Pretty crazy, but anyway. Javonte Green as well, another Detroit Pistons guard. Very, very solid, but 5.5 mil, break even to minus 1. Don't know about the ceiling on his scoring versus Jenkins, who can really shoot the ball. Jalen Tyson, he had a rough week. He only scored the 19. I mean, he still went up that $1 million. As a bit of a cash cow from the week prior, don't really know how much more the Jalen Tyson show will continue. But the problem is Cleveland. You just don't know who's going to get hurt next. That team is just wild. Otherwise, if you sort of look at maybe the likes of AJ Mitchell from the week prior as well, he had a pretty quiet week comparatively. Priced at 8.6 million now. His break-even's gone all the way up to 50. So that was kind of like the thing about AJ Mitchell. It might be a little bit boom or bust, but his role, again, that's the key thing. As soon as they get a couple more healthy guys, they cycle in through the Carusos of the world. If Aaron Wiggins comes back, suddenly there's a little bit less of a formulaic sort of game-to-game role that you can at least rely on with AJ Mitchell, but still, he's very good. Don't get me wrong. Otherwise, Derek Queen, still looking pretty good, was that 6.4 mil, break-even of 5. Again, role. He got moved to the starting position for the Pelicans. He is their first-round pick. He's like the apple of Joe Dumas, the GM there in New Orleans. His eye. He traded the farm for him, so just saying. Derek Queen's been very, very solid. I like him a lot. So the big thing for me, though, trade targets for this week, what are we looking at? Well, with the 4 games, scheduled for 14 teams, obviously we're sticking with those teams, right? Who are you going to get in? Somebody from these teams. Who are we avoiding? The Lakers and Houston. They only play 2 games this week. As good as the Austin Reeves break-even looks and the Doncic break-even might look, they're only going to be playing the 2 games. Your overall score will suffer if you have them. So, thing is, when we get some of these players in, are they going to play the games? That's the big one for me. So, Atlanta, 4 games this week. So, Jalen Johnson is another really good look to just go bang, 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 bang. All the games that they've been playing as well have been on the road, so I still really like the Jalen Johnson experience. Okongwu's a little bit different. Probably a little bit more boom or bust. We don't know when Porzingis will be back in the fold as well. Johnson's role feels a little bit more solid than Okongwu. Dyson Daniel has been a lot more in the sort of facilitator role. He had 3 steals, I think, today. A bunch of assists. Very, very solid as well. But I don't know. Nicky Alexander-Walker's another one to look at for a little bit. But Jalen Johnson's the main guy there. Charlotte, we've got 4 games of Con Knipple, 4 games of Miles Bridges, 4 games of LaMelo maybe? I don't know. That's the thing. When it comes to ability, what's the best ability? availability. It rings very true for SuperCoach now as well, right? So if LaMelo is held out for like one of these games and you're paying a premium for him, that money might be able to maybe be spent elsewhere. I'd rather sort of let him get like a week under his belt, get back into sort of game shape, and then maybe jump on. Chicago, Josh Giddey, Buzelis. Not so many other sort of names out there. But Giddey, look, right back to his triple-double best today. Looked awesome. He only played the one game this week after twisting his ankle, well, getting his ankles broken by DeAndre Hunter. But Josh Giddey, crushing it, looking good. Love him. Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell, if we're going to replace shooting guards. Look, the problem with Mitchell is, again, it's not quite boom or bust. He's got a really high floor, obviously, because he's really, really good. But his efficiency will sometimes take a bit of a hit if he's trying to do too much. Mobley and Jared Allen, their SuperCoach scoring is like fine, but it doesn't quite hit the crazy, crazy, crazy heights. Mobley still has like that crazy ceiling every so often, but neither of them seem to just go massive, massive. So probably Donovan Mitchell's the one I'm looking at there. Jalen Tyson, obviously, with 4 games. Maybe that's another pickup. Dallas, Cooper Flagg. Bang. Gafford. If you love me some Dan Gafford, off you go. But Cooper Flagg's obviously the main one for Dallas. Denver, that's Jokic. Aaron Gordon's been really solid. But Jokic is probably my rolled captain this week, so off we go. Clippers, James Harden. He's sort of doing everything for the Clippers. They sort of stink at the moment, but they stink and he's doing everything again. It's like just going back to Houston. Off we go, right? Brooklyn, Philly, where James Harden was like an absolute fantasy super duper star. He is about a bit older. They don't have as much talent without Kawhi there, with Chris Paul being older than Methuselah. You know, all these sorts of dudes. Brook Lopez. Anyway. Thing is, Harden is just still gunning. So at his price, around that 17 mil mark, I actually don't mind him. He's been pretty. I mean, he had a massive week this week. He had the 40-point triple-double. Yeah, he's very, very, very good. 159 this week. The games that he played in, he's also got a pretty good week this week. I think they play, I did see their fixture. Yeah, Philly, Orlando, Charlotte, and Cleveland. So some pretty good competition up there. But he also had 25 against Denver last week, then backs up with a 55 against Dallas. So I don't know. I trust Harden though, because we have that track record with him. We know he's really good. Miami, Norm Powell, very, very good. No Bam Adebayo at the moment. Khalil Ware has obviously been crushing as their starting center. Outside of that, Davion Mitchell, fine-ish, solid, but I'm not breaking down the door to get him. The Pelicans, no Zion back yet. I'm interested to see if and when Zion comes back, what that means for Derek Queen. Trey Murphy's been fantastic in Zion's absence. So, but the Pelicans now have a new coach, James Borrego. Derek Queen directly, into the starting lineup. Let's see what happens from there. Fingers crossed he stays there. Zion will be an interesting one if he comes back and gets a few more games under his belt as well. But for the minute, Trey Murphy, Derek Queen, not a giant amount else there. OKC, SGA, absolutely awesome. We all know that. Chet Holmgren, he's another interesting one, right? But again, with Isaiah Hartenstein there, we saw them 2 weeks ago, just put up massive numbers, the two of them. 4 games this week. Hartenstein is just the do-everything big man that you just love. Chet, I just want to sort of see him just keep up these massive rebounding numbers, block numbers. Then you go, hang on a second, he might be a SuperCoach weapon. But for the minute, SGA, AJ Mitchell, very, very good as well, obviously. But I'm only really trusting SGA for the minute. Orlando, Franz Wagner, hello, very, very good. Outside of that, I'm not really sold, but Franz Wagner, that's a pretty big opportunity. Think about Denny Avdija a couple of weeks ago, Larry Markin a couple of weeks ago. Philly, Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe, bang, bang. If you want to get him back in, I'm not going to argue with you. And Portland, Denny Avdija, obviously. Shaedon Sharpe. Now, efficiency is obviously the thing when it comes to Shaedon Sharpe. If he's efficient, he's awesome. If he's not, he's going to hurt you. And Toronto, this is probably my favorite trade target this week. It's going to be Scotty Barnes. Because Toronto have the best schedule this week of any team. They have 4 games, but they are all evenly spread out. There's no back-to-backs. There's no fear of maybe he's played too many games. Hopefully he'd play all 4 games. They play Charlotte, Philly, Washington, and Brooklyn. That is an absolute murderer's row of, hey, please put up lots and lots and lots of SuperCoach points, right? To the point where I think 3 of those 4 are at home. The Philly game's on the road. That's okay. But Scotty Barnes, he's going to be my big trade target, I think, for this week. And then outside of that, I mean, as I said, Daniss Jenkins, Basketball Paul. I mean, if you don't have like the likes of AJ Mitchell or Kalkbrenner, etc., you can still get them in. Cooper Flagg has still got a massive break even as well, like a massively low one, because he had a big week this week. That means his price will sort of obviously take a big jump the next week. So if you want to jump on him now, they've got 4 weeks. So jump on Cooper Flagg if you're one of the very few people who doesn't already have him. He is in 68% of teams. So just saying. If you're in the 32% that didn't believe, you probably should. Otherwise, I mean, I'm going to really be trying to make sure that I've got, players with the 4-game week all on my actual floor. The problem is I've got Ryan Rowland sort of sitting there for Milwaukee. They're only going to play the 3. I'm probably okay with that for him. What I'm looking at is probably trading out Jaylen Brown. It's just been a really tough slog. He's sort of done enough. He's been solid, but at 14.5 mil, the ceiling just hasn't been there. Like, I expected a couple of games where he'd just go whack, and you're like, wait, this is what we've been paying for. This is what we've been waiting for. Come on, let's go Jaylen Brown. But yeah, last week it was 22, 20, and 32. The week prior it was 36, 28, 18, right? So there's usually a pretty good performance, a mediocre one, and then a bad one. So I don't know. But really, the question would be whether or not we want to trade Wemby. If we have any more information before the rolling lockout hits, I'm taping this Monday night. I've got the squids over there. I'm solo parenting this week, which is gnarly. So trying to cram this in. So we're not going as deep as we might usually this week. So it's a little bit more just me talking out my thoughts. But if even there's a hint that he's not going to play in one of those games, Wemby's gone. And we'll definitely be trying to get Scotty Barnes in. I'll be probably finagling where Jaylen Brown probably goes as well. I might even move on from Cedric Coward. Like, you don't want to really cut bait too early on some of your cash cows. But Coward, he's already got the break even of 39, which he would likely hit. He hit 41 this week, right? He's priced at the 8 mil mark. He's not going to get you too much in return, really, at that price point. But he could still make some money. But the problem is, again, roll, right? And if your coach suddenly doesn't trust the rookie, this week he scored 17, 9, and 15. He had the big week prior where he had the 4 games. He went 18, 14, 31, and 19. So what could happen this week? Well, Memphis, they're just not very good. So it's really hard to sort of pass out exactly what they're going to do. They do play San Antonio on the road, then they play Sacramento at home, and then they're at Dallas. So 3 interesting games against Western Conference opponents. Memphis really need to get something going, but he might be the one that I sort of go, all right, might be time to move on. Because like Con Knibble's crushing it. Colin Murray Boyles, like they've got 4 games this week as well, Toronto. So hopefully he just puts up half decent numbers. But again, his role has changed now that Jacob Poeltl is back, Teenage Mutant Jakob Poeltl. But it was just last week. He had 20 against Philly. He managed the 26 this week. The only problem is he might also did not play coach's decisions. So I'm probably going to go keep everything sort of focused on whether or not Wemby's going to play, scouring the internet for any sort of news. And if he isn't, he's out. Jaylen Brown might go as well for me this week and try to find a better option. And at that price, there's plenty of other sort of guards around that spot. Obviously Maxey is a few mil more. Max is at 17.7. But even Scotty Barnes is at 16. So that's going to be the sort of dude that I probably switch out for Jaylen Brown. I'll probably go down to Daniss Jenkins from Tyrese Proctor is still on my bench just as a little bit of see how he goes. Cool. So I'll probably go to Daniss Jenkins from here, try to make him into a better cash cow and go from there. Devin Booker's at 16 mil as well. I feel like his ceiling is much higher. I mean, especially with Jalen Green now gone. I feel like Devin Booker is going to have these much bigger games probably than Jaylen Brown. because Brown at least has still got like Derek White next to him, Peyton Pritchard, who, you know, those dudes can really put it up. Booker, it's his show, so I probably prefer to jump to them now. And especially with Boston only having the 3 games this week. But the other thing about Toronto as well is that they have 4 games next week too, right? And the week after. So in the next 3 weeks, they have 12 games. Makes me feel much better about getting Scotty Barnes in. And like even with the Spurs, like if Wemby misses this week, they've only got the 3 games this week, 3 games next week, 3 games a week after, 3 games a week after that. They're 3, which is fine, but yeah, also frustrating. Other teams with like the double 4s, it's literally Toronto at the moment, I think. And for the following week, yeah, it's New Orleans as well. So Derek Queen, fingers crossed that he's actually playing pretty well. But either way, there we go. So still, look, in the top 500, feeling pretty good. Keep it all rolling this way. But that's it for this week. Tell us how you went. Let us know what you're thinking about. But I feel like Wemby might be moved. Jaylen Brown might be moved this week. We're going to keep our ears to the ground and see how we go. So we'll be back on Wednesday with NFL SuperCoach, wrapping up week 11. That's what this week is. So in the meantime, make sure you're following Jim Does SuperCoach across all their socials, as well as NBA Straya and NFL Straya, because we'll try to keep you updated on stuff. Twitter, Facey, IG, TikTok, YouTube, all that good stuff. Check it out. All the other shows as well, of course, NBA and NFL Straya, because we just have lots of stuff. Check us a rating and review on your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, whatever podcast app you use, whatever platform you like watching this on. But there you go. This has been Jim Does SuperCoach. Here's to a big NBA SuperCoach Week 5. Happy SuperCoaching.